I write in Afrikaans, which is one of the official languages here, and it has a really beautiful music scene. It has like extremely devoted followers, and like the fans here are really intense about the music they love.
Really?
Which is an amazing thing to see. It's something that really unites people within cultures and also across cultures, which is a beautiful thing that's happening here right now. So yeah, it's exciting to create music in South Africa because not everything has been done yet.
Good morning, Kristi.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
Really good. Very excited to speak to you today.
Yeah, it's so great to meet you here on Zoom.
Yes, it's lovely. Here we are on the opposite sides of the world.
I know. And that's what I always find so amazing about the times that we live in, that we can now connect from all over the world and have conversations that we usually would have had over a coffee in somewhere. So now we can do it online. Coffee online.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Tell me, where you're in South Africa, but where exactly are you based?
So I'm based in Pretoria in South Africa, which is a beautiful city with a really nice musical community, and so it's lovely to be based here.
Yeah, and so were you born there in that area?
Yes, so I was born in this province, but I'm originally from Johannesburg. Yes, but I've been living in Pretoria for a few years now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And I saw that you are one of South Africa's young and upcoming singers and stars. So how did music start for you? I mean, did you do music as a child? Did you play an instrument?
Yeah, so music has just always been part of my life since I was very small, and specifically also writing music. I've been writing since I was very, very tiny. So there are a bunch of extremely embarrassing little books with from when I was 7 or 8 years old. And
for you, it's
books,
embarrassing, but I'm sure for your mom, it's cute.
yeah, it's lovely. We have a few home videos where, you know, how when you have a tiny baby, you ask them, okay, sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for us, or do this. And then I'd always do it. And then I'd ask my mom, okay, can I write a singing one that I wrote now? And then, yeah, so it started when I was very tiny. My poor parents, I started singing and then I never really stopped. Yes, but properly, I started really pursuing music when I was 16. That's when I joined my first band. And my first band, we immediately started to play my original music because at that point the books turned into bookshelves full of songs, and
really,
I was very excited to start performing them. So,
but just to ask you that, so but did you have any formal music training? I mean, did you have music lessons or singing lessons or anything before that?
Yeah, so I did all the musical things that I possibly could. I have the highest qualification in singing in the Academy of Rock Schools. So I'm not classically trained, but I did get the highest qualification in there. And then I also play piano, which is what I use to write my songs. But I never did any exams in an instrument because I get extreme stage fright when playing an instrument. Singing, never. I can sing in front of thousands of people, I'll be fine. As soon as I play an instrument in front of one person, I freeze. And that's how I got a band.
Yeah, but it's always for me so interesting and lovely when I talk to musicians or to artists who are basically a little bit self-taught, that they I have respect for the ones that that go through music school or do the training, but I love stories also where people say, I just sat in front of the piano, or I taught myself to sing, or you said you had a training, singing training, but the piano you basically did yourself.
No, so I had 2 or 3 years where I learned the basics just to be able to write better and understand so I did mostly understanding song composition and chord structures and those type of things. I didn't do the strict piano lessons as everybody else, knows it. But with band leading, that was also something that was completely, I just started it and then we figured it out. I think I've been in about like 20 combinations of bands since I was 16 until now. So it's that's one of my favorite processes is getting a group of musicians together, getting them to connect to your music, and then creating something beautiful out of your songs. And I love how every time it's completely different. With every set of musicians I work with, my songs evolve and they become something new and something special. And it always suits the season where I'm in and always suits the type of performances that I'm having in that moment in time. So it's really beautiful. I love the figuring out process during building a band and playing with a new group of musicians.
Well, that's what everybody says that I speak to, that part of a band, that this collaboration between musicians, that you get something from each other, or you sort of tap into each other, and you grow in that sense as an artist.
Yes, for sure. And also it's a art to know what your music sounds like in your brain and in your soul, and then trying to translate it into physical music by connecting with other people. So that's been one of the big challenges and one of the most rewarding parts of creating music with other people, is to really take that sound you have in your soul for that particular song and actually translating it to a physical instrument or physical music. And I think that's one of the privileges of being a band leader or having an orchestra or composing any type of music, is to see something that you feel in your heart and you know how it's supposed to sound in your brain, and really like giving it to other people so that everybody can experience it.
Yeah, I've many composers say that, and then they also, I recently spoke to a choreographer and we talked about the same thing where, because once a composer said to me that he used to write still in pencil, like in pencil, and the script, they didn't use a computer. And then the first time the orchestra played the music, it was like, wow, it was like amazing to him. It was so he imagined it, but hearing it was just this amazing experience. And the choreographer actually the other day said the same thing, that it's so wonderful then to see your work, the work that's been in your head, and then to physically see it in front of your eyes. So you also have that experience of hearing your music then.
Yes, and another important part about it is, for me, I think, is why I do music in the first place, is to create that connection with your audience and, like give that piece of yourself away so that they can find themselves in your music. And as soon as you created this nice thing and it's out there, just to see if it touches someone, or if, like, what are the people's experience of it and what does it create in them. And I think that is, if you keep chasing that as a musician, your music will always be authentic and real and always be meaningful. If you don't do it for any other reason than just like looking someone in the eye while you share it and seeing them connecting with it.
But are you sometimes surprised at the reaction in certain parts of the music that you maybe didn't expect a reaction, that you have a certain idea, but that the members in the audience react at different times. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes. It's very interesting because I think like every audience has something else that they take from the music. And very often, if I speak to someone and someone comments about my lyrics or, whatever they took from the performance, it's never what I thought it was going to mean.
Really?
For me, when I write the lyrics, it has a certain meaning and a certain like feeling that I was feeling at that point. But I always see that everyone takes something different and everyone experiences it in a different way. And I think that's why music will always be relevant and always be meaningful because every single person finds one piece of it that really touches them or that makes them think about something or reminds them of something. And I think that's the beautiful thing about music is that it takes you to a different place. You're never just listening to a song and be like, yeah, okay, it's a nice song. Even if it's a silly pop song or just a catchy tune, like it's gonna take you to a happy time in your life or connect to a memory. So I think, I love hearing what people think about my songs or how they interpret the lyrics or the sound because it just shows me that music will always grow. It will never just, you created it to be one thing and that's all it's going to be. Every single person that hears it is going to take it to a different level and to a different space, which is beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's true about and also transporting you, because I was a teenager in the 70s and early 80s, and when I hear that music, when it comes on the radio, you immediately, exactly where you were, or the time of your life, or the period of your life, and it does transport you back, so that's absolutely true. And but then it also gets a different meaning, that time it meant that, but now it means something else for you.
Yeah, and that's also the good thing about music is it lives forever in some way or form. Like it goes through phases. Like when you just write it, maybe it's revolutionary and different, and it's saying something new, and then it becomes a fond memory, and then it becomes a piece of history, and then somewhere in the future, someone might just stumble upon it and then listen it from the beginning again. So I think that's all musicians strive to live forever in their music and in their art. Like we're gonna pass away, but your music might live forever. And that's also a beautiful thing about technology now. It's not just linked to someone that you don't have to have the physical CD anymore. It's on the internet, it's available everywhere. People from right over the world can experience it. So that's a lovely thing.
That's true. It's out in the universe for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah.
But because you seem to think a lot and you're a deep thinker, but what inspires your music? What would inspire you to write a song?
So for me, I think the biggest form of inspiration is my religion. So I'm a Christian, and I feel that like connecting with God is one of music's biggest tasks, is to like connect to something bigger than yourself. So for me, even though my music is not about God or it doesn't really have specific Christian messages, it's always for him. And I feel like my connection to God makes my music better and bigger and more meaningful. So that's one of my biggest inspirations. And then also I get a lot of inspiration from nature.
Oh, wow.
And I think when I'm in nature or I'm in a beautiful place, then it is I write a lot. It just, that peace or that joy you feel when you're somewhere beautiful, it really inspires me to write beautiful things. There's a poet in South Africa. She's also up and coming, but she's amazing. She once said that, I see you write in beautiful places to escape the dark things in life. You go to beautiful places to write about ugly things. And I really relate to that. I think when you're in a beautiful place and you're somewhere special and you connect to nature, then it makes it easier to write about the hard things.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I spoke to a writer and an actress the other day, and basically she's saying she gets her inspiration for writing to go to different places, and also she mentioned nature, or she actually said sometimes music, just music in the background can sort of, inspire her to write something. So, wow, that's so true. That when you're basically surrounded by beauty, it's easier to tap into the difficult things. I have to remember that.
100%.
Yeah.
And for me as well, like now I've been trying to really, I've always supported the South African music scene as much as I can, because I love being surrounded by it. I love the atmosphere at a performance. And I think experiencing music live is the highest form of experiencing music. I think we're very privileged to have technology and having music go wherever you go. But I think there will always be a need for seeing musicians in person, and your music will never be done justice on an electronic platform. Like, you have to be there, you have to look at the audience in the eye. And for this year has been my first year of pursuing music completely. It's been such a privilege to really have the time to go surround myself with other musicians and really go to find inspiration in others. And an interesting thing is, when I go to a live performance of a different artist, most of the time the things that inspired me or drove me to write a song after, it wasn't the actual musical performance, but it was the artist speaking in between. So it's like it's how what they say their inspiration for the music is inspiring to me as well. And then I write something completely different based on that and that also, it's so beautiful to me, because it's not it doesn't have to be the exact music and that person's song inspired me to do that, but like what they said inspired them to write that song is so inspiring that I can write a completely different thing off of the same material. So yeah, the last few weeks I had the privilege to watch a few amazing shows from like mentors of mine and big names in the industry here, and the stories they tell in between have been so inspiring, and I've been really writing a lot based on that, which is also very interesting.
That is so interesting. And of course, seeing these people and knowing that they've, what they went through to be in the industry, because it's in South Africa also not the easiest of industries to be in. I mean, it's, we all know that in South Africa, you really have to work hard to get these performances and, get your name out there.
Yes, I think music is a tough industry all around. I think in South Africa, we're privileged in certain ways. I think in like the American music scene in Europe, and it's extremely oversaturated with English singers. And there's so many artists doing, like, creating art and everything in the same language. And I feel English is a very postmodern language when it comes to music, because it's really, really hard to create something that isn't connected to something else already, or, write lyrics that aren't cliche already, because there are just so many artists creating in that language. So I think in South Africa, we're blessed because of we have 11 official languages, and each language comes with its own culture and its own musical influences. But then also we have an overarching South African culture with South African music influences. So here, I feel there's more freedom to explore in writing in your own language, and also exploring different genres that haven't been done before in that language. So I have tried to write. I write in Afrikaans, which is one of the official languages here, and it has a really beautiful music scene. It has like extremely devoted followers, and like the fans here are really intense about the music they love.
Really?
Which is an amazing thing to see. It's something that really unites people within cultures and also across cultures, which is a beautiful thing that's happening here right now. So yeah, it's exciting to create music in South Africa, because not everything has been done yet.
So luister, ek weet, hierdie is verby. En my vingerpunte is dit weer vroeg my. Hierdie grens aan tyd mors, maar jou sielewyn lees my dors. Ek wil hier lê tot ons hande een word. Net hierdie niks met jou is al wat ek kort, net hierdie rus met jou is die brood op my bord, net hierdie niks met jou is al wat ek kort, net hierdie rus met jou is die brood op my bord en gas ons groot huis.
We, especially in Afrikaans, we have two big branches at the moment, where we have a very big popular music area where and we call it soki music, because soki is a type of dance here, and all the music that you can dance that type of dance with, it's called soki music, and it's a huge booming industry with like and the following is very, very committed and very intense. And the industry is gorgeous and so exciting. And it's all about bringing people together and, dancing together, eating together, like the real heart of community in the Afrikaans culture. And that's beautiful, and it's been around for years. So it's also evolving and changing all the time. But then we also have one big wing of Afrikaans music called alternative. We call it alternative music here, just because it's not the popular. It's all the genres that move away from the popular genre. We're just like, okay, this is called alternative. So within that, there's a very big indie and alternative rock scene, which is super exciting and also evolving. There are a few like cult classic bands that started that movement here, and then it just branched off. And then there's a really big Afrikaans rap culture that has begun to come up as well, which is also gorgeous to see, because it talks about the harder subjects, and it also they create a lot of parodies about difficult things, and It's a lot of satire, which is revolutionary in its own, because it's Afrikaans people mocking the things that we do badly in a way that it comments on our society, but it's still, that society is what is the following of that music. So, it's like there's a big explosion of thoughts happening here right now, where people are welcoming, people challenging what we think and what we do, and people commenting on everyday practices that, and challenging your beliefs in that. So, it's really gorgeous. And then especially as a female singer now, it's exciting because in popular music, it's really become like much more balanced with male and female artists, and the female artists are doing really well. But in the alternative movement, it is still very male dominated. And so the thing is, all the female artists that are up and coming are really pushing for more equality in the scene. But I found that the reason for that is that the Afrikaans alternative female artist hasn't been defined yet here. So there's a lot of, because since our alternative genre encompasses so many different micro genres, there's a lot of freedom to try and do something new and try and really create something that can be like, this is what a female alternative artist sounds like in Afrikaans. So there's a little bit of a race going on now to define that, and to create something that hasn't been done before. And it's really been exciting to see how, even though it's a male-dominated industry and everything, the really famous bands and artists are really supporting the tiny artists that are coming up now.
Amazing.
They're really also pushing for the change and for something new to come. I think there's such a big love for music in the industry that everyone is so supportive of each other. There isn't really this competition element that, you don't want to help anybody because you want to stay big. There's really a love for the genre in general and like improving Afrikaans music. So I've been privileged enough to work with and be mentored by some of the biggest names in Afrikaans alternative this side, just because they really love music and they want to see female artists succeed and they want the genre to grow into something beautiful.
Hierdie grens aan tyd mors, maar jou sielewyn lees my dors. Ek wil hier lê tot ons hande een word. Net hierdie niks met jou is al wat ek kort. Net hierdie rus met jou is die brood op my bord. Net hierdie niks met jou is al wat ek kort. Net hierdie rus met jou is die brood op my bord en die gas ons groot huis.
So who are these alternative bands, the big alternative bands in South Africa at the moment?
So in the rock side, I would say, in my humble opinion, that the biggest artists are Spoegwolf. They are a big like indie rock with certain like jazz elements coming in there. Very interesting music. Like it doesn't sound like anything else at the moment. And then we have our cult classic rock band called Folk of Polisikar, and they are led by Fransja van Kook, who also has solo stuff that he does and is also doing amazing. He is such a staple in South Africa. Like everything he touches turns to gold. He has this
Really? I did an interview with him as well.
lovely,
He's amazing.
lovely human. Yeah, he is so wonderful. And he's a little bit like, he's the father of rock and roll here at the moment. So he because he really wants to just let Afrikaans music grow. And he has such a love for the industry and for making music that isn't like all the other music. So he's also been lovely to me and just really giving like good critique and just supporting me. And yeah, so it's lovely. So they're really amazing people. And then we also have Die Was Fantastisch.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
I heard of
so
them.
they're also in the alternative side, but a little bit more in the electronic direction, which is also really good to see because it's not pop, but it is dance music still, and festivals go crazy for them because it's amazing to see live. And according to me, like one of the best songwriters in South Africa right now is Hunter Kennedy. And he's also a part of the writing team at Die Was Fantastisch, as well as Fokov Pilisikaar, which is, you can see he's the mastermind at the moment. He also, like, all the projects he's been in have been revolutionary and amazing. So
I have to put the links in the description because I did an interview with him as well. So that would be great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so he's also lovely. I would love to work with him sometime in the future. I have a really long bucket list of collaborations that I want to do. Because the artists here are amazing and they're so diverse, especially songwriters. They can write any genre, and everything they do is like revolutionary and new and gorgeous, because Afrikaans doesn't have that problem of postmodernism yet. That's why I've really been feeling so inspired while writing in Afrikaans, because there's such depth in how you can express yourself, and it's a really expressive, beautiful language. So it's been an adventure learning how to write in Afrikaans and finding something that's just giving the girls a voice in alternative.
Yeah. But Kristi, this industry and all the big names you were talking about now, is it a bit daunting to sort of get in the industry with them?
It was at the beginning, but as soon as I spoke to the first big artists, I saw that they have such a love for the music, and they really want to support new artists in any way they can, that I've really found that the bigger the artist I've spoken to and asked for advice and asked for mentorship, the more willing they were to really help me in any way they can. And it's been such a positive experience where confidence and like just going in with a humble approach to these people and being like, I need to learn whatever I need to learn. I really want this to work. Then they really go out of their way to support you in any way they can. So what's worked for me is just bold confidence. Just know you as a tiny artist, you're worthy of being there, and you're worthy of talking to these people. And wherever you get to share your art, you are allowed, you are worthy. You don't have to feel like an imposter in those situations. Just go into it with confidence and humility, and try to learn from everyone as much as you can. And if you think you're allowed to do something at this level, try to do something at this level. Always try to push it a little bit further than you can. Like, everything I've experienced now in my music journey and everything has been because I went for it and asked people and spoke to people and just shared my music and my vision with them. And people really connect to other people that love the same thing. So all artists want to see Afrikaans music grow and see South African music grow, and they have so much to offer with all their years of experience, that as soon as you go and you ask them sincerely to help you, it's amazing how much you can actually connect, even though you've just started and don't know anything yet. So
but that's amazing on both sides, because they've been there, so they know. But on the other side, you are willing to learn, and you're willing to learn from people who have made it or who are established in the industry. So that's also great that you are so open about that.
I think as soon as people, especially young people, realize that fame is not going to happen overnight, and it's called a singing career for a reason. It's because it's years and years of your life, of like your music changing, you learning more, doing different types of performances in different environments. And I think for me, when some people ask me, when am I going to be done singing? Like, when have I achieved what I want to achieve? And then I can move on. And then I just tell them, I will be doing music forever. Until I die. It'll change and it'll evolve. And maybe sometimes I'll just sing in church, or sometimes I'll write for other people, or, do the proper rock star band performing every week thing, or doing huge performances or tiny performances. But I will be singing and I will be writing for my whole life. So going into it now and be like, no one is allowed to tell me anything. My music is amazing. It's perfect. It doesn't, you're not going to grow. You have to allow yourself to be confident in what you're creating right now. But then take what people say and implement it in your future music. Because I'm very strict with myself that if I do create something, like I'm busy with the recording process now of my new song, and I've been asking for a lot of input, but I'm not going to necessarily change what I believe in now because of that input, but I am going to take it and try to implement it in my next song, and take whatever is valuable and try to implement it next time, or try to grow from that. So it's possible to still believe in your art and still do something that you believe in completely, not taking all the outside voices in, but then making sure you do learn from it and you do grow.
Well, I find it now fascinating because the whole week's interviews really had this theme. Everybody was talking about the composer that I spoke to, Sarai, and Kennedy. He's a choreographer. He said the same thing. And yesterday I spoke to a filmmaker, and he also said, that he's learning and that he's, exploring all these things. And what was interesting, what the choreographer Kennedy said was that we live in a society where everybody it's about me, what I want to express and what I want to show. And yet you have to learn from, like the masters or the people who came before you, or the people who have done it before, and observe and learn from them. And basically you're doing the same thing. And it's amazing that at your age that you can see the benefit of it.
No, I think the thing with music is there's always someone that knows how to do it better than you. And understanding that you're not necessarily the best in this thing, because you never will be, but you have something unique to offer to it, is a good mindset to have going into it. Because it's not like athletics or sports where you can really be the best at something, because in music it's so subjective, and each person needs a different type of music in a different part of their life, and they go through seasons where they might love your music in one season of their life and it would have like no meaning or purpose in another. So understanding the beauty of always trying to be a better version of what you are and what your art is supposed to say, instead of being like, I need to be the best in this thing, because I don't think that is an attainable goal in music. And I think that gives us so much more freedom to be like, I just have to try to improve my art and my craft and like push myself to my uttermost boundaries, instead of being like, okay, I'm going to become Franco van Coke and I'm gonna try everything
yeah.
to be exactly like him, so that I can like be better than him. You know, so it's
Yeah.
not like that at all. It's a you borrow from different artists and you're like, they do this really well, I must try to do that. And then even if you say, okay, I am stealing this one thing Karen Zoid does, and I'm stealing it and I'm trying to implement it and do it better than her, your interpretation of it and your expression of it is always going to be completely different. So it's never going to be just like a copy and paste, black and white. Oh my goodness, she stole this from this person. It's just we borrow pieces of each other and express it in such a different way that we're still completely ourselves and completely sharing our message within that.
Is al wat ek kort, net hierdie rus met jou. Is die brood op my bord, net hierdie niks met jou. Is al wat ek kort, net hierdie rus met jou. Is die brood op my bord, in die gas ons groot.
Well, that's so beautifully said, and that really applies to everything in the world, you know, to us all, because we do that, you know, in all aspects of life.
Yes.
Well, you have thought of everything, and you're so young, and you have such, you know, this is you are really a born artist, because you are able to look at these things in this way, and you know, having thought of everything. So, but Kristi, what are still the wishes for you for the future?
So for me, the goal right now is just to share my music with as many people as possible. My music has really grown in the last 2 years specifically, and I'm really ready to share what I have now and just kind of create a platform for the type of music that I believe in right now, and trying to create a little space in the industry for what I'm trying to say and the type of music I'm trying to make, which is exciting because with my new song that's coming out now also, I really feel it's new and different, and it's a little bit risky right now because it doesn't look a lot like all the other artists, I hope. And so it's scary on one side, but also really exciting on the other. So yes, I'm just trying to perform as much as I can and share my music with as many people as possible.
That's amazing. And I saw on your Instagram page the performances that you've done, but I've also seen that I saw on somewhere on one of the posts you were at a festival and you were speaking with Sonja Harold. And I remember her from South Africa, and when I was young, we used to sing her songs when I was like a little girl.
Yeah, she's a hero here. She's like she's an institution. She's, wow, she's really like so much of Afrikaans music has come out of her work.
Ek is Kristi Steyn en ek is songwriter. Afrikaanse musiek is kuns en die mense wat ek liefhet kom groei op my soos mos.
So that festival is a beautiful thing here in South Africa, where we have a 10-day cultural festival where every single day there are musical artists, there are theater pieces, there are orchestras and choirs and monologues and cabarets. And so for 10 days in Oudtshoorn, the whole little town is turned into a theater. So there are like tiny pop-up theaters right over the whole town, and through the whole day there's theater, music. You can be able to see all of it while you're there, and it's really a melting pot for people that love art, because the artists that perform there also just attend the festival and go to see a theater
Amazing.
piece or see a choir. So I was privileged enough to be invited to perform there this year for the first time. And it was lovely. I did 2 performances there, and it was the best experience of my life. But
Really?
one of the big privileges was to just be surrounded by all these people that are legends in our industry. There were actors and singers and artists and musicians that you've only heard of, or your grandparents only told you about, or
Really?
you never imagined meeting in person. So while I was there, I got to just talk to these people and hear about their art and what they're doing at the festival and where they are now. And it was such a privilege. I saw one of the best musical performances of my life, with including Sonja Harold. It was an ensemble piece that was an ode to Anton Goosen and all his music, because he has been an amazing influence. He's one of the best artists we have, because all his songs are just in the heart of Afrikaans culture, and everybody knows his songs. And so it was him, and then Sonja Harold, because her most famous song, Yankee, was written by Anton Goosen.
Oh, yeah.
And they did an ensemble performance there.
Amazing.
With like the best musicians in South Africa right now. There was like Skolkieberg, which he's a composer, and he created the whole ensemble piece. And Ilimar Knights, who is one of the best blues guitarists in the world, according to me. And he's been playing all the legends all his life. And then Sonja Harold, Anton Goosen, and one of our South African gems called Solani Mahola. She is part of a band called Freshly Ground, but she is one of the most stunning voices I've heard. So all of those legends were together in an ensemble performance, doing all these cult classic Afrikaans songs. And so it was beautiful.
You give me goosebumps now, really. It must have been amazing.
I was in tears from the beginning to the end. And then after, I got to speak to her a little, and she is just so lovely. You can see the music just pouring out of her. She still loves performing, and she's still doing everything she loves. So yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Well, that's wonderful, and great that you could experience it, and great that you are so open to that. I really find amazing that you're so open to, connecting with these people, because that's the roots, those are the roots of Afrikaans music.
Yes, the community is so strong and really supports each other. I think we really have one of the most supportive musical cultures like that I've heard of. There's really very little like competition and malice, and everyone just wants to really connect with each other and learn from each other and grow together in music. And being in an environment like that festival, where it's just all the creators of the country coming together in this beautiful thing, it's really a privilege to be part of something like that. And I think that's something I will pursue for the rest of my career, is just being part of these beautiful moments in time where artists come together and celebrate each other's arts and learn from each other and just take pieces of each other home. I've never written so much as like at that festival.
Really?
Just continuously inspired by the theater and I saw amazing poetry and orchestras and ensemble pieces that like people have only dreamt about. Like, I think South Africa has a beautiful art. Just all our art is so warm and passionate. Like I think here we haven't lost the magic of creating art yet. I think it's still it still brings people together, and it still really inspires people, whether you're creating it or just partaking in the art. It keeps us going forward, and music is part of all the cultures, and it brings us all together.
That's amazing. Well, my wish is, and my dream is to bring South African artists here to Vienna and create a festival like that. I think that would be amazing, so that people can experience that.
I think that would be wonderful. I think I'm gonna send you a list of artists.
Yeah.
Get together. We're gonna start something. I'm excited because Vienna was also I've visited it once and I saw a live performance at Haus der Musik, which was amazing. It was also like a very transcending musical experience for me. It was the first time hearing classical music live for me, which is wild. But that also really like showed me the power of orchestral music and classical music's beauty. So yeah, no, I think Afrikaans music has to come to the house of the country of music there.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Well, wish with me or make the wish with me, then it gets more powerful.
No, we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna send you the master plan. We're gonna make it happen soon.
Okay. I spoke to the right person then.
Yeah.
But Kristi, this was so great to talk to you.
It was lovely.
Thank you so much for all these wonderful things that you told me, and you have inspired me now.
Oh, it's been a real privilege. Thank you so much for creating this beautiful platform and sharing international art. It's amazing. People like you make it possible for us to do what we do.
I think it's a great pleasure to do that.
So luister ek weet, hierdie is verby. In my vingerpunte is dit weer vroeg my. Hierdie grens aan tyd mos, maar jou sielewyn les my dors. Ek wil hier lê tot ons hande een word. Net hierdie niks met jou is al wat ek kort, net hierdie is met jou. Is die brood op my bord, net hierdie niks met jou. Is al wat ek kort, net hierdie is met jou. Is die brood op my bord en gas ons groot huis, wil ek hierdie word. So luister ek weer, dit was nou al 'n jaar, maar die smaak van jou lippe maak my nog steeds deur mekaar. Hierdie grens aan tyd mors, maar jou sielewyn les my dors. Ek wil hier lê tot ons hande een word. Net hierdie niks met jou is al wat ek kort, net hierdie is met jou. Is die brood op my bord, net hierdie niks met jou. Is al wat ek kort, net hierdie is met jou. Is die brood op my bord en gas ons groot huis, wil ek hierdie word. Is al wat ek kort, net hierdie is met jou. Is die brood op my bord, net hierdie niks met jou. Is al wat ek kort, net hierdie is met jou. Is die brood op teen 'n gas ons groot huis, wil ek hier die word.